Welcome back, Spare Parts Army. I'm your average infantryman, Chris Cappy. From the Russian war in Ukraine to the battle between Armenia and Azerbaijan, we've recently seen how drones are one of the biggest changes to warfare in the last 50 years. You can now use recon UAVs to easily call for artillery fire on confirmed enemy GPS coordinates. Thousands of soldiers have fallen victim to drone warfare in just the past few years. This new reality has fundamentally changed the nature of war, and it's created a dire need for a cost-effective counter-UAV weapon. I got the opportunity to record an exclusive interview with experts from Raytheon's new high-energy laser systems, which has been top secret up until now. We're going to find out about their new 50 kilowatt laser gun that the US military has actually already deployed in the field. This is why, for the past 3 years, the US Department of Defense has spent roughly $1 billion each year in research and development for what is known within the defense industry as directed energy weapons. In 2018, the DoD actually officially identified directed energy weapons as one of the 11 technologies that are absolutely critical to enabling the 2018 National Defense Strategy. This technology has been in development for decades, but it's only been in the last few years that the military has really doubled down on investing the necessary funds into its development. Every time you hear about a new sword to be afraid of, like a hypersonic missile, there's a new shield in development soon afterwards. And directed energy weapons could be the solution that is fast enough, like the speed of light fast enough, to shoot down hypersonic missiles. According to new Government Accountability Office reports, these high-energy lasers can blast a range of threats right out of the sky, including enemy drones, mortars, artillery shells, and even cruise missiles, all for mere pennies on the dollar. China, France, Germany, United Kingdom, Russia, India, and Pakistan are also trying to develop military-grade directed energy weapons. Iran and Turkey claim to already have them in service. The drone advantage is finally being challenged thanks to these directed energy weapons. But how do they work? What kind of tactics are they deployed with? And what type of capabilities do they have? According to ancient military legends, we can actually trace directed energy weapons all the way back to Archimedes, when he allegedly created a mirror with an adjustable focal length to focus sunlight onto the ships of the Roman fleet as they invaded Syracuse in 212 BC. This supposedly set the ships on fire. Whether this happened or not, in reality, it still shows how harnessing directed energy heat ray power has long been in the collective imagination of humanity. To give you an idea of how bad the drone problem is, in 2022, at the Aspen Security Forum, General Richard Clark, then commander of U.S. Special Operations Command, said, quote,
"I've been in the Army for 38 years, and in my entire time in the Army, on battlefields in Iraq and Afghanistan, Syria, I never had to look up. But now with everything from quadcopters that are very small up to very large unmanned area vehicles, we won't always have that luxury."
To address this problem, in 2019, Raytheon delivered the first ruggedized laser weapon capable of detecting and destroying drones in combat. Ruggedized is a key word here because it means it's durable and suitable for battlefield conditions. And so far, Raytheon has delivered 8 systems to the military in various configurations to meet evolving operational needs, to figure out what works best for a given mission, and to refine the concept of operations in this very new domain. These systems are proven to acquire, track, target, and destroy drone targets in swarms and short and long range threat scenarios. With several configurations and power levels, they've already gone through the paces with 25,000 hours of operational use and 400 confirmed drone kills. So your average soldier on the ground can rest easy when they know they're protected by a 24/7, 360-degree laser weapon. In order to get the inside scoop, I spoke with Raytheon's Michael Hoffel. He's the product line lead on the high-energy laser system. What are some of the key advantages of using a high-energy laser compared to like a traditional missile interceptor, like a Patriot or another kinetic interceptor?
It all comes down, like most things in life, to the money. If you think about shooting a Patriot missile at, something like a DJI, that's an economic battle that you're going to lose really quick.
On the other hand, the cost of firing your laser system is basically as cheap as the gas that you have in your tank, so it's been estimated to be about $1 to $10 per engagement. In March 2023, a US contractor was killed and 5 US military service members were wounded by drone attacks inside the safety of their bases located in Syria. The attacks were linked to the Iran's Revolutionary Guard. The Iranian-made Shahed 136 kamikaze drones are the same weapons that have destroyed large sections of Ukraine's energy and clean water infrastructure. The drones are too slow at 100 miles per hour, they fly too low, and are too small to be detected by MiG-29 radar, making them incredibly difficult to shoot down. They cost $20,000, relatively cheap to manufacture, yet it costs many times that amount to shoot them down. When you step back and look at this vulnerability, you quickly realize we're facing a problem of scale, because even on the cheap end, most air defense systems, like the Stinger missile, cost $38,000 per shot. It takes several minutes to set up a Stinger missile and get in position to fire. Meanwhile, each Patriot air defense missile costs $4 million and definitely qualifies as overkill against a DJI device that costs $500. The solution did not fit the problem. Hundreds of soldiers and airmen from a variety of military specialties have already been trained as laser gunners. That's something I never thought I'd say. They're laser gunners. I actually got to take a sneak peek at the high-energy laser system when I spoke to Raytheon at a defense convention. One of the biggest problems when it comes to enemy drones is figuring out where they're located. The system from Raytheon combines combat-proven electro-optical surveillance with a computer system that automatically locates the drone and slews the weapon to the target. At that point, the laser gunner, all he has to do is select an aim point on the target and pull the trigger. A few seconds of laser shot on the drone and it's downed.
And if I turn this drone around, you can kind of see what, some of the damage looks like, right?
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize I had taken a shot from the HEL. I was concerned maybe it would be difficult to operate, but Raytheon made it private proof. You use a video game controller and a laptop display that is visually easy to understand. And if you ever played Call of Duty or Fortnite, it takes just a couple of hours to learn the system and start taking down targets. For most, it takes a couple of days to become proficient. Can you tell me a little bit about the fire control system?
When you get a detection, you'll get something on your user interface. At one click of the button, the beam director will slew, directly to where the target is based on that radar cue. And then at that point, you've got eyes on the target. You can see what your target is. You get eyes on what you're about to shoot, which is incredibly valuable. And then from there, the soldier would click a button that would pull it in, and then they could use the joystick, here to go in and say, well, I want to maybe target a different part of the drone. And given the precision of the laser, you can actually pick exactly where you want to shoot. So it's incredibly precise. Let's say this is your beam, right? You can pick on the drone exactly where you want to target it. So if you have a drone coming on, you can take this beam and you can move it around, and shoot, target the rotor. So it's an incredibly precise weapon system. And that's kind of the kill chain. So you get the cue, from a click of a button, it's going to come on your screen through the EOIR sensor. And then you can select your aim point, and you will actually, while you're firing, you will see the laser affect the target.
I asked the Raytheon expert how much ammunition it has, and I got the answer every soldier dreams of: infinity rounds, 300 seconds of continuous fire in the battery, and the weapon's battery recharges constantly, so you never run out of ammo. And you don't have to worry about a nightmare logistical supply chain. It takes a few gallons of gas to shoot all day. As long as you're connected to a generator or power source, the magazine is unlimited.
So you can shoot 30 targets, at which point you would recharge your battery. Usually that takes about 20-30 minutes. The laser systems are designed such that while you're shooting, your battery is in a continuous state of recharge.
There are currently 15 kilowatt and 50 kilowatt versions in the hands of various customers, but Raytheon's laser weapon is scalable to meet mission requirements. As part of the US Army's DM SHORAD program, the 50 kilowatt laser weapon is mounted on the Stryker armored vehicle, drawing straight from the vehicle's power supply. The 50 kilowatt HEL is specifically designed for the Striker, and it's so compact that it still leaves room for a 3-man crew in the vehicle. It has the longest range of Raytheon's current systems, and it reliably takes out incoming rockets, artillery, and mortar rounds, in addition to its anti-drone capabilities. The 15 kilowatt version, originally designed for the US Air Force, can be configured for smaller tactical vehicles, giving commanders greater flexibility in how they deploy their troops. Are there any real-world success stories?
What I can tell you is we have deployed several of our 15 kilowatt class weapon systems that we have 2 variants. One of them is on a Polaris M-Razor, and then we have a palletized version where it's basically just the same system, just put on a pallet that can get forklifted around. So those systems have been deployed to classified locations. Our first deployed system was in 2019. Getting these systems out there and getting soldiers on the controls and getting them into battle is, a huge step. They certainly have been deployed and put on the, in battle, but the results I can't talk about. So this is an actual mortar kill.
Wow. Yeah, you could actually see the mortar around there.
This system has an onboard counter ram radar. Very difficult problem solve. So it's the ball there at the top. So this is the radar, and then this here is the beam director. It's got its protective little clamshell over the. But basically, what happens, Chris, is the radar will detect it, and this is there's like an audible, you can see it, and then it'll trigger the beam director. It'll automatically slew to the target, and there's a dead man switch for the operator. So all they're doing is holding on to the 2 triggers to give a consent that says, okay, I am allowed to, the system is allowed to engage, and everything else is automatic. So it is.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see the explosion now. 15 kilowatt is even more compact. It can be mounted on a small tactical vehicle, or a palletized configuration can fit in the bed of a pickup or anywhere it's needed. In addition to an effective air defense capability, each laser weapon puts a powerful EO/IR imaging system in the hands of Striker crews that they can use for 24-hour day-night surveillance at significantly longer ranges than your standard Striker thermals. When I deployed to Iraq, we worried about IEDs on the ground. Today, soldiers worry about drones in the sky. With Raytheon's laser weapon providing 360-degree protection all day and night to military personnel and assets, it should be a lot less stressful to look up. If you're interested in learning more about Raytheon's high-energy laser system, you can click the link in the description box below or the pinned comment. But we have to be honest and talk about some of the potential downsides that we need to be aware of at this early stage of development. To talk about the environmental factors, it's confirmed that the effectiveness of directed energy weapons can be affected by weather and rain. For example, HEL has reduced effectiveness under certain atmospheric conditions, such as severe wind turbulence. Air particles and water vapor can also absorb or distort HEL beams. This is being addressed though. In order to mitigate this issue, the DoD officials said that they're taking every step to select wavelengths that are less affected by water vapor. Adaptive optics also help HEL weapons remain focused and see through this kind of atmospheric turbulence to mitigate this weakness the best they can. There's another potential vulnerability. The internal mechanisms for directed energy weapons are still very sensitive and typically require a specialized clean room for repairs. For example, DoD officials said that the one directed energy weapon fielded to an operational environment, or another way of saying it is was in combat, encountered challenges with battery charge and cooling and had to be returned to the manufacturer in the United States for repairs. This is just a challenge that will need to be addressed by the US military. We need to be aware of the need to create forward deployed clean rooms and necessary logistics and spare parts in the country. And what about the future of this future technology? According to this RAND study, the 300 kilowatt range is generally considered the minimum for an effective cruise missile defense. Army technologists apparently believe 300 kilowatt lasers are possible because they're working on them right now. The Government Accountability Report states that the United States, DoD, and each of the military departments are working towards building lasers with outputs in the 300, 500, and 1,000 kilowatt power ranges. Such systems could eventually enable HEL to engage powerful targets such as cruise missiles, and that they expect to reach this ability by 2023. This Government Accountability Report notes the effect that direct energy weapons might have on international relations. One particular realm where the DE weapons could have a profound international relations effect, as well as shape US foreign policy, is the area of space control. In a space role, directed energy weapons could potentially be used defensively to attack enemy anti-satellite systems, targeted against US space systems, and offensively could potentially be used to interfere with or destroy enemy satellites. Such an unchallenged ability to exert space control could dramatically impact military balances and the course of future conflicts. The best way to explain the drone problem is that it reminds me of how the IED threat took the US military by surprise in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then for the next 20 years, the defense industry worked on every solution imaginable, from jamming to redesigning armored vehicles' underbellies. But there was a period of time where a capability gap existed and the enemy exploited it. HEL tightly focuses a beam of energy on a single target to damage, censor, or cause destructive heating. It's going to be interesting to see how soldiers deploy this weapon in the field. I could see it potentially being used to knock out enemy sensors or optics on tanks. HEL systems include advanced thermal management systems to cool the weapon as it's in use. When you read reports on the directed energy progress in 2018, they seem like they were pessimistic about them becoming a reality up until 2018, pointing to the fact that the US military had a long and complicated history in developing directed energy DE weapons. And the reports point out how many past efforts have failed for a variety of reasons. In 2018, it's when they first started to show real promise. And this was great timing, because at the same exact time, loitering munitions were also reaching maturity. A loitering munition is a weapon system category in which the munition loiters around the target area for some time, searches for targets based on a predetermined set of parameters, such as a specific radar signal, and attacks once a target is located. The HEL can fire at enemy drones while on the move, so even if you're booking it down a highway, your system can still engage multiple UAV threats while on the move. One of the other possible causes where the HEL will be useful in the future is to destroy incoming RPG and anti-tank guided munitions in midair. This has not been a confirmed feature yet, but when we look into the future, we could see how this technology will be useful. Active protection systems on tanks are one of the greatest signals that main battle tanks aren't going anywhere. A big advantage of these new HEL systems is that everything you need is mounted on your vehicle. This gives you an agility and mobility advantage over older legacy laser systems. And I'm sure the logistics types in the viewer section are already running the numbers in their heads about how you don't have to stockpile large warehouses full of missiles, which means your ammo depots aren't vulnerable to attack since your ammo is just battery life. I know what some of you are wondering, can this direct energy weapon take out personnel?
I would say no. Let's say you're cooking, right? And you put your hand on the hot stove. Before you even know you're burning, your body will pull your arm away. If you were to get shot with a laser, you would, kind of run off, and then the system would be trying to track you, and not an effective weapon against people.
Could I cook an MRE with it?
Yeah, you absolutely could.
In fact, contrary to a lot of what we see in movies, real-life directed energy weapons do not create any kind of large red laser like the Death Star or Stormtrooper weapons. It doesn't create a loud pew-pew laser sound, and if all goes according to plan, the enemy target will simply drop out of the sky instead of explode in a brilliant shard of light. Kind of anticlimactic, but you'd rather your weapon have a built-in silencer than a loud laser sound effect. Drones have changed more than just kinetic strikes. They're a major reconnaissance tool that has changed the way your average infantryman operates. Instead of going on patrol to find out if the enemy is there, you can just fly a drone that fits in your backpack. This is a far cheaper and faster option. But it cannot replace the presence of forces. There is still no replacement or substitute for a show of force. This means you inevitably have to go outside the wire and face the enemy drones. This means you need a reliable counter-UAV tool. What do you think about how drones are changing warfare? Do you think high-energy lasers will have a major impact on counter-drone missions? And will they offer a viable solution finally to destroy the threat of hypersonic missiles? I'm your average infantryman, Chris Cappy. If you like this video, you can check this one out right here, and I'll see you guys again soon.